Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. And given that a lot of people have been opening Pokemon cards over the festive period, and given that a lot of people have been excitedly posting about their Charizards that they've been pulling, and given that the last time I did a video about Charizard and the value of it, it went rather well, and people seemed into the video, I figured we should probably have a little bit of a look at the Charizards that you might have pulled over the Christmas period and how much they might be worth. By which I mean we'll dig through some values and see how much they actually are worth. It's hard to find an exact value for a particular card, but shall we say there are a few different places that we can look, and by looking at all of them, we should be able to get a pretty good idea. And we need to talk about Champion's Path, because Champion's Path is where a lot of these posts I'm seeing are coming from. Champion's Path, a very, very exciting set. One that's got two Charizards in, we will get to both of them, and one that it had a bunch of restocks around the Christmas period, so it seems like a whole bunch of people have got their hands on some Champion's Path. And if you go to Champion's Path, there are two potential Charizards that you can go and pull. You can pull yourself the shiny Charizard V, or you can pull yourself the Rainbow Rare V Max. Now, initially, when these came out, it was a Rainbow Rare V Max that was the more sought after of the two. That is what most people were really trying to pull. That's what most people were trying to go for. So it will be interesting to see if that is still the case and if that's still the more valuable of them. Now, one thing we can do is we can head on over to Troll and Toad. Now, when it comes to Troll and Toad, I have no connection with the shop. I don't endorse them. It is more just they have listings, and they have easy to find listings, and they have ones that are easy to compare. And if we have a look at Troll and Toad, Charizard V, the shiny version of it, is being sold for around about $420 to $450. There are three people selling, all claiming to be near mint. We got $420, $445, and $450. Now, another website that people do generally tend to use when looking at values is TCG Player. Now, TCG Player is another one of these marketplaces, which is to say anybody can list cards on there. And if we have a look at the listings on there, now they are wildly all over the place. There is one person who rather optimistically is trying to sell for $1,250, which incidentally is more than double any of the others. And there is one which is actually being sold for just $265, but they're generally around about the $400 to $500 mark. The prices vary wildly, but we seem to be a card which is around about the $400 range. Now, of course, the main one that an awful lot of people tend to use is eBay. So if we have a go over on eBay, now, when you're checking eBay, this is really important. You need to check sold listings, because sold shows what people have actually paid, not what people are asking, and it is a more, well, shall we say it is more of a more reliable thing to do. And if we have a look at the two most recent ones there, we've got a $260 card with an offer that has been accepted, and a $300 card which has sold, but did come bundled, it seems at least, with a full art Charizard V. Now, this was, of course, the promo that came around in the Elite Trainer box. It's generally worth like $20, $25. It is not the most valuable card out there in terms of Charizards. It's a cool little bonus. And the difference with these eBay sold listings over the ones I just showed you a moment ago is that these are what people have actually paid, whereas TCG Player and Troll and Toad are what people are asking. And if we go back to TCG Player for a moment, you'll notice that the cheapest price on there is asking $265 or $265.99 if you want to be a pedant, which is about what they were selling for on eBay. So when we take all of this into account, we look at a shiny Charizard V and we go, well, you know what? It's about a $260 card. There are plenty of people listing it as a $400-ish card. But if we look at the most recent eBay sold listings, and we look at the cheapest listings on TCG Player, it's not a $400 card. Now, if you're wondering about getting it graded and how much it's likely to go up in value if it's graded, there were a couple that have sold on eBay in the last couple of days. They are both BGS 10s, but they are the gold label, not the black label. That is to say they're a 10, but they don't have a 10 in every category. There are 2 10s with Beckett. This is a lower of them. And essentially, one had a best offer accepted. It was listed for $790, so it probably sold for somewhere around $750-ish, one would imagine. And there was one that was bid up to $850. So if you're talking a BGS or a PSA 10, you're probably looking at about $800 in terms of value. So I think and the whole point of this video is to put actual values on the card. I think this shiny Charizard V, we can call it $260 for a raw version in good condition. And we can put it as $800 if you're talking about a PSA or a Beckett 10. So let's go and have a look at the Charizard V Max then, and see what happens there in terms of prices. And we'll go through what we just did with the same stores. Now, if we have a look at the Charizard V Max over on Troll and Toad, you'll notice that the values are the same. There are 3 listings on there, and we've got $420, $445, and $450. So again, now remember, these are listing prices, not sold prices. But it certainly seems like over on Troll and Toad, they're basically saying these cards are equivalent in value. They are a $420 to $450 card. If we head on over to TCG Player, again, remember that this is a marketplace, so there are going to be various people trying to sell. There are going to be various listings. There are fewer listings, and they tend to be a little more expensive. Now, here we've got a $1,000 listing, which I'm going to go ahead and say isn't going to sell anytime soon. And we got a $450 and a $700. But we've also got 2 different sellers selling it for $350. Now, again, this is being sold, not having actually sold. So there's no guarantee it's going to sell for that. But over on TCG Player, it looks like the VMAX is a slightly more expensive card. I mean, we can put them side by side here, and we can see that, I mean, to be honest, it's only the $265 Charizard V that is cheaper, but still, there is one of those where there isn't for the VMAX. So I think probably, just about give it to the VMAX there. Now, if we had to eBay here, and again, we really want to be checking sold listings. That is the most important of them. There are a couple raw ones which have been sold in the past couple of days, and we've got one that sold for $390, and one which, well, it was there to be bid on, but there was only actually one bid, but the bid that came in was $300, so we got one that actually sold for $390, and one that actually sold for $300. So we need a bit of a tiebreaker here. Well, there was one that was listed for $362 with a best offer accepted. And then there was one that was listed at $350 that actually sold. So putting all of those together, I feel pretty comfortable calling Charizard V Max a $350 card. We've seen them sell for a tiny bit more. We've seen them sell for a little bit less, but I think at this stage it's probably fair to say that shiny Charizard V Max, a rough value is about $350. That's what the 2 cheaper listings over on TCG Player came out as, and that is what seems to be about the average of the sold listings over on eBay. But if we go to grading, things get a little bit weird, because there are 2 graded that were sold yesterday as I record this. We've got a PSA 10 that after 12 bids sold for $740, and we've got a Beckett 9.5, which sold as a buy it now for $750. Which means that you put the two together and you have a sale price of about $750. Now that does seem a little bit low, but if we look at a couple of other auctions which also sold on the same day, we've got a BGS 10, but again we're talking gold label, not black label, i.e. it's a 10, but it doesn't get a 10 in every category. And we've got another BGS 10, but again we're talking gold label, not black label, and we've got $830 actually sold, and $850 where a best offer was accepted, so it probably sold for $825, $830, I would imagine. So maybe this is more of a roundabout an $800 card, i.e. it's not really any more expensive than the V. The V sold for a little bit less, quite a bit less to be honest, as a raw card, but about the same as a graded. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. You've been opening Champions Path. You want to know the value of those Charizards. I've dug into the numbers and I've given you actual numerical data. Hopefully, that does give you a good idea. Remember, of course, that prices fluctuate all the time. In a week, this might no longer be true. But I've seen so many posts about people going, I bought a Charizard, what's it worth? And given how the value of this Charizard card video did, I think this is probably one where it seemed like a good idea to make. And honestly, I enjoy making these kind of videos. So why not, ladies and gentlemen? Why not? But now it's over to you, lovely ladies and gentlemen. I want to know what you think about this. I want to know if you've pulled these Charizards. Have you bought them? Have you sold them? Let me know. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.